Okay, so let's take a look at that first part. We got 2 8s up here, so we're in C minor pentatonic basically. So I jumped down to the G string and did a 10 to 8, kind of a half a bend on the 8 there. So that was 10 on the D to 10 on the A, 8 on the D. So we got. So we had 10 to 10 to the 8 over here on the D, and then 10 to 10 again. And then a little bend on the G string, 8. Then we got a pull off, 10 to 8 on the D, down to 10 on the A. So we got. Okay, now the second part of this riff, that went 10 to 10 after those 2 8s in the bass. To the 8 on the G, and then it's going to go 10 to 10 on the D to A, and then 8, 10 on the D. So both those parts together, 3, 4. Okay, and then there's some chords in the background, the keyboard's going E flat to F up in there. Okay, now the third part of this intro is going to be the same as the first part. Now the fourth part is going to go. So 8, 8, 10 to 10, G to D, 8 on the G, 10 on the D, and a hammer on there. Okay, now at that point, the octave part is going to come in. All those riffs are going to happen again with a different ending, but guitar 2 is going to come in with 3, 4, 1. Okay, so that waits until the second beat, 1. 13 to 11 on the E, so 1. And that's 13 on the B, 12 on the G, back to that 11 there, so 1. So it goes 13 to 12 there, back down to that little one. Then we have that pull off, 13 to 11 to 12, so 3, 4, 1. Okay, so the second half of that is 13, 13 to the 11 there. 13 to 12 on the G, 11 to 13 down here. So again, 3, 4, 1. So that was that first riff again. Now this last one's gonna go. Okay, so this is the last part. It's going to change on the other part as well. So this high one goes 13, 11, 13 on the second, 10 to 8 on the G, 10 on the D, 11 into 13. So it's. Okay, and then the lower riff that was going. It's going to end with. So that's 10 and 8 on the G, 10 on the D, 8 to 6 on the A, 8 on the E, 8 to 10 in there. Okay, and the high one is. Okay, now we're into the verse. So for the verse, we're going to have this C7 raised 9 chord. We're going to go. Okay, so that's going to be one time through. So we're going to have chomp, chomp, and that's a down and a up. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and. Now that second one, we're going to hold that one out. So 3, 4. And then 6th fret in the bass, that's an E flat, raised 9. To a D, 1 fret down. And then back to 2 hits on this. And then it starts over. So let's try 2 in a row. 2, 3, and. Now this time, so what we did is we hit once, and then we're going to these 10s, which is an F chord, into the 8s, which is the E flat chord. So Do that same thing, and then we have this E flat to D. So let's try those two. 2, 3, and. And again. Okay, so that second time through, we're going to get ready to go into the chorus. We're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay, let's try that. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We're going to jump to this A flat 7 chord. We're going to go. Okay, so what that is like a, think of a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. 1 and a 2. That's 1, a 2, 3, a 4, 2, 3, a 4, 1, a 2, 3, a 4. So that's the B flat on the 6th fret, same type of shape. Okay, we're gonna do that twice. Let's try that. 2, 3, and. Now we have this D raised 9 up to the G raised 9, 10th fret in the bass. Okay, in that shape 10, 9, 10, 11. So, okay, and then we're back through. Okay, we go back into that main A and B riff up there, and then the high one comes in. And then it's going to end with that. And that low one would be. Okay, then we get into a whole new verse thing. 3, 4. And then we got the. Triplets. Okay, so that's all through verse chorus again, and we're going to go back to the riff. Now this time on this riff, quick into the ending, and it's going to start with the lead with it on top there. So it's going to be 3, 4, 1. Okay, then we're into the bridge. We have an F9 here, F7, 9, 8, 7, 8, 8, 8. We're going to go. That's a C7. Okay, so we did that 3 times in a row. Let's try that. And what we're doing is 1, 2, and 1, 2, and. Okay, 2, 3, 4. Then we're gonna go G7, raise 9 here, 10th fret bass. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2. We got power chords here, B flat, 6, 8, 8, up to 8, 10, 10, the C. So we're gonna go. Okay, then we're into Dickey's solo. So let's take a look at that. We had the. And then one more of those B flats. Then we get into a harmony triplet thing. So Dickey starts on the 10th fret of the A string. So we have 2 sets of triplets, 10, 8, 10, and then 8 down here, and back up this bigger 10. And then 10, 7, 8, 10, 8, 10. Okay, so it's. we have triplets again. So 11, 10, 11, and then a little 8, 11, and 8. 3 more notes, 10, 11, and 13. So it's... Okay, so let's get going with that. We're gonna go. We've got those last 3 walk-up notes. We're gonna bend that 13, kind of rake it. 11, 13. We're gonna go 11, lower 13, 11, 13. So we have a series of bends here. We go kind of a half, and then a bigger one, and then 3 more big ones. And we have to bend with the first finger. That 11, back to the 11, and 13 on the second. So we got... We have a reverse rake on this 11, 13, 12. And we go up rake on the 12, 13, 15. So it's a little 11 bend there. We got 13, and then rake these 8s. Little bend on that 8, so we got a couple 10s over here. So once again, we got... Now we're going to move on. We're going to go... So we have 8 on the G, bend the 10, 8, 8 going up, and then a new measure starts with... So we're going to have 11 to 8 here on the bottom, 8 on the second, back to 8 here, so pull off on the second string, 11 to 8, then hit the 11, then we have a triplet going, quick one, 8, 11, 8, 10 on the G, 8 and 8 over here, so we got, and then we go 10, 8, 10, 10, little bend on that, pull off, that one's going down. So let's review. We got... So we're going to have a... Right at the end of that measure, we got an 11 bend on the second. And then little 8, pull off there, little 11, bend it again, then 13. And the end of this one, we're going to pull it down. Kind of a slow one, pull off, go to the 13 here. Then we have the final riff from Dickey's solo. We got... Okay, so it's like series of triplets and stuff. So we got 11, 8, 11, and then 8, 11 to 8. Back to that little one. And then 10, 8 to 10 over here. And then 8, 11 to 10. So we got... Now new measure, we go 8, 10, 8, 10, 8, 10. So it's... And then 8, 10, 8, 6. 8, big 8 to 6. So... Okay, and that's where Dickey goes back into rhythm and Warren's solo starts, and they have a great handoff in here where Warren's comes in as Dickey's is ending. It sounds really killer. Okay, so we're gonna look at Warren Haynes' solo right now. This is how I figured it out to kind of play it the easiest for me. There's probably several ways to do it, but we're gonna have... Okay, so that's the first little bit. So we're gonna slide into the 13 from the 11. We're gonna bend this 16. Bend the 18, and then hit the 16 regular, so it's... And then we're gonna bend that one again. I jump back to that other good bend finger. He could be doing it like one finger bend and then the ring finger on the other one too. So it does that thing twice, and we go... So we got 13 on the second, 15 on the third, 16 to 13. And as soon as we hit that 13 there, we're gonna bend this 15 up to it. We're gonna go 13 to 16 bend up here. So we got. And then we have a 13, 14 to 13, 16, 15 on the G, back to that 13. So we got. And then we have kind of a rake and a 1.5 step bend on this 13 on the second. So we got 11, 13, 12. Back to that 11 a couple times. Quick 12 to 10. Got that 8. Okay, so you got 10, 10, 10. You got that 8 there. So we got. So after this, we're gonna have 10 on the A, 10 on the D. Has a little bit of a bend on that 10 on the D to the 8 over here. And then we have a go up on the 10, 8, 8, bend the 11, and then you have an 8, 11, 8. Then we're gonna have a pull off here. Okay, so let's look at that again. We got. So we got that 10, 10. And then a little 8, 11, 8, 10 up and down. And then the 9 up and down, just a half step. 10 to 8, back into 8 to 10. And then we have a little harmony part coming up. We're gonna look at the solo one more time. Okay, then we're gonna have. Okay, so that's the end of the solo here. Let's take a look at it. We got 11 to 13 hammer. Bend it up and down, go to the 11. Go 11, 13, 9, 9 again. Bend that one, 6. Hammer on pull off. So once again, we got. And then our last riff. We're gonna bend that 11 on the second. And then a quick hammer on pull off, back to that 11. So. Then we have 13, 11 to 13. And we have a little 15. And these are all triplets. We got 15 to 18, 16. Bend to 18, 15 to 16. Little 18, 15, and bend that one. So we have this series of triplets. So we got a quick one there at the end. Triplet there, triplet there, triplet there, triplet here. Okay, so once again we got. And then the band goes. Okay, so G, 10, 8, 10, 8, 10, 8, 6, 8, 6, 3. And at the end, like a harmonica pops in with a. So you can kind of add that to the end of that. And then they're back in the bridge. Then they got that turnaround. That's going to bounce back into the chorus. Okay, then they're back into the full intro. So both guitars would do that, and then one would split off and do the one. Now the ending is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Got those 8s to 10, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that one has an upbeat quick after the 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's what it does at the ending. So now we're gonna look at a couple extra fills and things. Now we have a couple slide fills. This one's in the second verse. It's gonna go. So this is a quick 10 to 12, then 10, 8, and then 2 10 to 12s, 8 on the D. And there's one after that that goes 7 to 8 on the G. Second string back to third, and then as a chord. And then we're gonna have 6 to 11, and 8 down. Okay, so this. Now here's some fills on the bridge. We're gonna have. So we went to the 11, and then 13 twice. 13 on the second string. Okay, then we're gonna have a fill. So it starts on the second string, 8. Quick 8 to 6, back to that 8. So 3 times that. And on the high note there. Okay, then we're gonna have one on the breakdown where it goes. Okay, so we start on the 8 on the G, 6 to 8 on the B, back to the 8, then the other way, back to the 8 and up. So next part goes little 6, 8 on the second, 2 little 8s, so it's. Then the last one is gonna be. Okay, this guitar isn't really set up for slide, the action's too low. We have a Warren riff that goes into the solo. So that triplet thing that walked into Dickey's solo, Warren's gonna go. Okay, so we got the triplets, 8, 6, 8, 6, 8, 6, then we get into slower notes. It's actually still triplets, but they're slower types of triplets. 8, 6, 8, 6, 8, 6, 8, 10, 7, 8, 10, 7. And then triplets again, 8, 7, 8, 10, 8, 10, 8, 10, 11. And then Warren goes back to rhythm and Dickey goes into his solo. Now there's one more thing when we have that breakdown. Okay, on that part, Dickey's part goes 6, 5, 4. It's gonna go. So it's like 1, 2, hit that 4 again, 2, 3, fourth beat is that 10, 7, 7, 8, 10, 10, 12, 6. Okay, so it's. All right, this is going to be End of the Line by the Allman Brothers. We're going to start out. This is Warren Haynes and Dickey Betts. Turn it up. We're going to have this little here. 3, 4, 1. we got? So we got part of like a D minor 7 kind of chord. We got these 2 10s in the middle there, D and G strings. We wait for the 1, 3, 4, a 1. So we got the 10s to the 12s and the same 2 strings in back. You can kind of go. You'd have a little extra 12 on that D string before those next 10s. So we 3, 4, 1. Okay, so bump, bump, boo down. Now you can kind of just skip that. It's kind of like not that important, I don't think. So 3, 4, 1. You just gotta have a chick in there instead of trying to do that 12. 3, 4, 1. Then you got this 12 on the D, 12 on the A, 10, 12 on the D. So 3, 4, 1. And then you have a fill. So 12th fret G string going up and down to that D note down there on the 4th string. So we got 3, 4, 1. So that went dump, dump, da da dee doo da dum. And then. So you have a 3, nothing on the D, open 3. So a C add 9 kind of thing. To a B in the bass, like a B with a G. Those chords are going to be coming up later in verses too. And then this last one, you kind of, on an upbeat, you go back to that C bass one. So it's going to be 3, 4, 1. And then the second thing begins. Okay, so you kind of rake up and bend that 15. Take it down, pull it off to the 13. And then you have a 15 and a bend. 2 bends on that 13 to that 15. So. And then it ends with F, C, G. So the F there is 8, 7, 5, 6. You could do, I suppose, any F you want. But F, the C's are those 5s on the D down to the B. And then the G with the double 3s on the bottom. You don't really need to worry about that 3 there, that 2nd fret of the A string. Sometimes you just hit that more kind of open chord. 3 and 4 and 1. And then it finishes with a dun, 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 has a let riff, and then F, C, G. Now we have verse. D, C add 9, G with the B bass, back to D, C add 9, G bass, now B flat bass. So that's 1st fret of the 5th string to C, and then we have this little riff. Okay, so that was a little bend on the 5 on the 2nd string, back to the 5, 3, and then a chord on the D down to B strings, 301 to 503, like an F to a G type thing. So once again, the verse was. Just kind of do whatever you want with the picking within those chords. C add 9, G with the B bass, and then this is like G with the B bass, but it's like a B flat 6 to the C bend thing. Okay, the second time you got the same chords. D, C add 9, G with the B, back to D, C add 9, G with the B, B flat 6, this time A power chord. Okay, A power chord for a little bit, and then we got this C thing. So that's back into the intro riff. So let's take a good look at this new part coming off this C. 3, 5, 7 on the A. Slide that 7 down off the A. We hit those 5s on the D and G underneath that. To the G. That was 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, and then D chord. Here we did the 7 to 9 on the A. To those 7s on the middle strings there. So 3 and 4 and. Okay, so that was the same stuff, and then open to 2 in the D string. To that 3 open 1 chord again, so it's 3, 2 open on the D to a 3 open open, and then 3, 2 open, big G, the rest of that chord. So the last part of this is. And then we have that. This is a new way to do kind of the B flat chord. 1, 3, open 3. And you could go to that same shape, or you could just go to a C chord there. Okay, so that whole break. Back to the top. Okay, then we got Dickey's solo starts. We got. Okay, so we'll break it down. We're going to bend this 13 on the E string. We got. So we had the initial bend and then 4 more, and then we're back to the regular 13, and then we have this riff. Okay, so we got. So 10, 13, 10, 13, 10, and then a rake to the 15. And if you can get 2 strings, to kind of make it more nasty, that sounds cool too. Or extra big bend each way, either way, you know, so. To the 10. So that was 10, 13, 10 to 12, 10, 10, 13, and then. And then we have this quick one. So we bend up the 12, 10, 10, pull off, 10, 10, pull off here to the 12, and then 10, 13 into 15, kind of buy yourself a little time right there. So once again, it's. And then we kind of rake up. So you have a bunch of bends on the 15. Eventually you hit just the 15, and then you bend the 13 a couple times, and then come down, hit that 15 on the second string, and then you have this descending riff. So 13, 14, 12 down, pull off, 10 to 13, and then a little rake, 12, 13, 10. Half set bend on that 12 to this 12. Kind of bigger bend there to the 11, and then. Okay, so that's the solo. Then you got Warren Haynes' slide solo. C add 9, G with the B bass, B flat 6, D, C add 9 again. G with the B. B flat 6. D. Now we go G. The D. Twice. C add 9. G with the B. D. Now we got another verse. Same chords with the verse. D. C add 9. G with the B. D. C add 9. G B. B flat. Got that A. Back into the intro. And they jam out on that intro and do some solos and stuff. Okay, so that very first thing, we got 11 to 12 on the G string, hammer, little 11 to 13 on the second string. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is a tricky one. We got 7 to 8 on the B string, and then 11 to 10, pull off. Then 8 to 10 on the G, so. And that's 10 on the D, back to 8 on the G. And then we're gonna go 9 to 10 on the A. To this 8 on the G, back to that 10 root note C there on the D string. So we got. And then we're gonna go. So that was 8 and 8, 8 on the second string, then 8 on the first. Take that 10th fret of the first string up only a half step. And then we're gonna hit this 13 down here. We're gonna go 10 to 11 to 8. And then we're gonna go to the next string. That's gonna start with an 8. And then have the 10, 11 to 8. So we got. So the start of this riff is gonna be that 10th fret C note on the D string. And it's gonna go to the 8th fret of the G, and then 11 to 10 on the G. And then back to our C note, 8 to 7 on the G. So we got. Okay, and then we're gonna have. So straight up the scale here, we got 8 to 10 on the D. And then 7, 8, 10. 8, 10, 11 on the B there. So we got. Okay, so that was 11 to 8, 10 to the other 10, 8 to the other 8, to that 10 on the G. And then we have this new phrase. So that's 9 on the D, and then 11, 10 on the G. Then 9 to 12 on the D. Ends on that 10 on the G. And then we come down here to the 7th fret. We go 7 on the D, and then 10 to 9 on the G. And then we do 7 to 10 on the D to 8 on the G. Okay, so we got. And then we're going to start on that 8 with our pinky. So 8, 7, 5, 6. So it's. So that was 7 to 5 on the G, to the 6 on the D, to 8 on the A. So 2 5s there in the D. So let's look at everything we got. We got. And then we got the ascending riff. And then we got this kind of weird one. Kind of a diminished type riff. And then. Okay, and then we're going to have this G7 raised 9, 10 on the 5th string, 10, 9, 10, 11. It's like that Jimi Hendrix kind of chord. So at the end of that, we're going to have, so at the end of that whole thing. Okay, so we got it, ba-dum, bum, and then we're right back in. Okay, then this next time we're gonna go. So dum 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 dum, and then we're into a solo section, which is gonna be C minor 7. So that's big 8, and then we use these other fingers to get this kind of jazzy C minor 7, muting the A string, muting the little E string. So we're gonna do 16 bars of that. So it's like 2, 3, 4, 2. That'd be like 8 bars. That'd be like our 16 bars. We're going to come over here to a E flat 7 raised 9. So that's 6 on the A string, 6, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so what's happening is when you're in the C, it's basically the C Dorian mode. So if you know those notes. And then when you get to that E flat one, it's kind of like you're in E minor pentatonic. But you're still in that Dorian mode as well. So you got all those Dorian things for each one. You got the C minor, you change keys to the E flat. And then at the end of that one, we have 14 bars of this. So what happens is the last 2 bars, you pop over to the D7 sharp 9. So let's say we're doing like the last 2 bars of this E flat. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Now on the second bar, as soon as the second bar starts on that, you got. So you got to leave that second bar of this. So it ends up being like. Hit that G7 raised 9, and you're back into the second half of the solo. So you got that C minor 7. Let's say that was 16 bars. We got our E flat raised 9. Say this is the last couple bars. D7 sharp 9. Okay, now we're done with the both solos, so we're going to do this other riff, this diminished type riff. Once again, that was 9, and then 11, 10, 9, 12, 10, and then 7 with 10, 9, 7, 10, 8, and then we start on the 8. Okay, then we're going to have, so another one of those bum, bum, ba-dum. And then we're going to move to a new part where we have an E7 sharp 9. So that's part of an A7 chord. So we had the big E and the E7 sharp 9, 7, 6, 7, 8. So we go. Now this chord is 5 on the D, and then 6, and then 8. That's part of an A7 chord. So we got. So this chord was an A5 chord, kind of an A power chord. 7, 9, and 10, starting on the D string there. So we got. So those are the only chords in this section, really. We got. Up to the A on that one. So let me do one more time through that section so we can see those chords kind of slow. So we got. Okay, then we start a new part. Goes. Okay, so super cool jazzy sounding stuff. So we got a 7 on the A, and then 5 on the D, 4 on the G. Down to that 7 down there. So we double hit that 7, go to 6 on the D, 7 on the A string. So here we go, 6, 5, and 4 to this 4 on the G string. So it goes. It's a crazy one. So. Second half. So it starts out the same. And then we go 6 on the G. 7, 4 on the D. So. And then 4, 5, 7. So that was 4, 5, 7, and then 7, 5, 4, and then repeat the first one. Okay, so those are some wicked little parts there. I'm gonna do it one more time. Okay, then we pop up to this harmony part, start on the 7th fret with your first finger here. We have 9, 7, and 7. And then 8, 9, 11, 10, 9, 11. So back to that 8 on the 2nd string. So that whole thing was 9, 7, 7, 8, 9, 11, 10, 9, 11, 8. So I'll do that kind of in context. We got. So that second ending is going to be 8, 9, and 11. So. So it repeats that first one. I'm calling that one part A. So this one ends different. 8, 9, 11, 10, 9, 11, and then 11 on the 2nd string to the 8 to the 9 on the G. So. And then we have this 7, 10 on the G, 8, 9, 11 on the B, and then we have a 10. So 10, and then 9, 12, 9, 7, little 10, and slide down. That's what the tab says anyway. It sounds a little, it's kind of hard to figure out exactly what's going on. So that's what the tab says. We got 9, 7, 10, 8, 9, 11, 10, hammer on, pull off, 7, little 10. And then we have this D raise 9. do a 5, and then a 5 to 4, and then a 3, 2, 1. And when you do the 1, you got to use the open string there. So it's 1 open, 1 and 2. So we got 5 to 4, and then 3, 2, 1. We're back into that. Now this one's going to be different. So this one's going to be 9, 7, 7, 9 on the G. And then that's 11 to 7 on the D. 7 on the G, 9 on the D, 10 on the A. So. Okay, so once again, that new part up here, we got. So we got a new solo section here. This is A minor 7 to D. So. And once again, you have your Dorian scale for A there. See, it's got that note from that D major in there. So you got a long solo section on that, and that's going to end with, you hear the drums, like kind of a drum fill pickup, and you got. So it was bass note E, and then the E7 sharp 9 3 times. Third time, go to the 6th fret, and then the next time, 5 to 4, and then that same 3, 2, 1. And now we're towards the end, so let's look at that one more time. We got. Now we're going to start this. So that's the 7, 5, 4, 7, 6, 7, 4. And then we're going to go 7 and 8 on the G and B strings. Up 2 to the 9 and 10. Up 1 to the 10 and 11. So that whole thing. Okay, and then they go into a long, extended, kind of a drum, kind of a just weird space out, kind of a trippy instrumental type thing. And then eventually they're going to come in with a drum fill. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. You're back into that. So let's take that slow again. We're going to do this diminished riff. And then we got. And then we got another drum fill. Diddle diddle diddle. And then we're going to end it. And that's the end. Okay, so from the ending where they come back with the drums, we got our whole melody from the beginning. Then the ascending riff. And on this riff, if you want to see some of the harmonies on that, we got. Now here you can go 12 and 11 to the 8 to these 10s to the 7 to those 8s, from that 10 to the 12 10. So. Make it sound like you got two people going. And here goes the end one. And that's it. So thanks a lot for watching. I got 3 pages of tabs on this one. So have yourself a good time. Talk to you soon.